They told me that I had to choose one lane to stay in, but when I was in college, I was a Division I basketball player, a model, and I was also working at one of the most exclusive hospitality venues in San Francisco, all while taking a full course load. Last year in college, this is how my days looked. I was waking up at 5 a.m. to get extra work in for basketball. Then I was going to class, going to practice right after that. Then I would spend my nights downtown in San Francisco, either working in the hospitality venue at one of the most popular restaurants in San Francisco. It's called the Holbrook House, by the way, and also doing modeling shoots on the side. Here's how I balanced it all. Sounds impossible? Well, here's the thing. It wasn't about having superhuman energy levels or anything like that. It was about just being present wherever I was at during that time, during that day, doing everything with intention. I'm a big believer in how you do anything is how you do everything. And so I wanted to take full advantage of my opportunity of being a Division I walk-on during my time in San Francisco while attending the University of San Francisco. And it came from rewiring how I thought about time, energy, and completely cutting out any excuses that I was making for myself. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly how I made this work, how I still maintained a high GPA, and how I was able to excel on the basketball court and in the other venues that I was pursuing. So let me paint you a picture of my days. I'd wake up, I would get a high intense skills workout in first thing in the morning with one of my teammates and our trainer. We would go hard for an hour and a half. Then I would go home quick, I would eat a full meal. The only reason why I was able to have this energy is because of the diet that I was eating. I ate the same thing for breakfast every single day. 5 eggs, a couple pieces of sourdough toast, all natural sausage and beef, plus a lot of fruit. This is the type of food that I was eating every single day to have the energy levels to continue to pack on muscle, to stay explosive, then also pursue all these other areas that I was currently working on. Then I would go to class, and I had to be present in class because during the basketball season, you're missing a lot of school. So the time that you're in class, I considered it to be extremely valuable. And for me, I didn't really care for the courses that I was taking. I was more so concerned with the people that I was with. I actually love going to class in person. It's actually one thing that I do miss today, now being a full-time entrepreneur and basketball coach. The people that you come across at these schools are incredible. People all over the world, professors with crazy backgrounds. That was one of the most important things for me in college. It was the relationships that I was able to build. So then after class, I would go to practice. We would have practice block from 12 to 3. But I always made sure to get to practice at least 45 to 30 minutes early every single day to work on my body, to work on my ankles, my hips, to make sure I was ready to go and to get up extra shots before practice as well. We would practice from 12 to 3 every single day. In this time, we would hit the weights, we would watch film, and we would get on the court. Luckily for me, USF's practice schedule was very modern. And what I mean by that is that we weren't wasting our time doing a bunch of random stuff that never translated to winning. Like, we weren't running suicides on a random Tuesday every single week. Like, we were actually just focused on winning and doing what it takes to prepare for our next game and to work on what we needed to work on. From there, I would have about an hour and a half until my next class, or depending on the day, when I had to go downtown. So this is when I made a big commitment to focus on my recovery. I would get in the warm tub, the cold tub, using contrast methods that my trainers would teach me, and I would also get stretching in before I left, or I would also get an extra shots up at the end of practice every single day. We would focus on making 80% of spot shots, or I couldn't leave the gym. So from there, I would hop on a bus and go downtown. Either I was working an event that night, or I was just shadowing and working with my mentor, who was actually the owner of the entire project, that I'm super grateful that I was able to learn from over the past couple of years. But there were other days when I wouldn't go downtown, when I might have had to shoot across the bridge in the bay, and that was when I really got into modeling. I was signed to one of the biggest agencies on the West Coast, and I did dozens of photo shoots. I walked runways, I modeled for brands like Cartier, for athletic brand companies, for e-commerce brands. I basically did it all when I was doing modeling. And what I learned from this entire experience is that there were a couple things. One, I hated when people would tell me what to do, but I used that time to observe everything. I paid attention to all the details, especially when we did shoots, especially when we coordinated events, who does what goes where, all the little things I was paying attention to. And especially at these high profile events, there were a lot of celebrities or a lot of high, influential people in the Bay Area that would attend these events. I was able to meet like the mayor of SF, multiple mayors actually, governors, the GM of the Warriors, owners of entire franchises, the GM of the San Francisco Giants. I was able to meet and get connected with a lot of these high-level people. And what that really taught me is that your network and the people that you surround yourself by and what you're around on a daily basis is super important. So for me, modeling and working on the side while playing D1 basketball, it wasn't really just about the money. It was about leveraging the connections that I was going to make so that I was able to, see what I really wanted to do when I graduated college. For me, modeling and working downtown in San Francisco, it wasn't necessarily about the money. It was about learning the ins and outs of the businesses, how to network with high-profile individuals, how to do setups on film studios, how to create content in a high-profile way, what looked good on camera, what sounded good, how did people interact with each other at these events. And all of that helped me form how I'm approaching, my brand and my business today. Without those experiences, I probably wouldn't be an entrepreneur today. And let me tell you something, when you're comfortable with being seen, then doors of opportunity open up left and right for you. You see, modeling opened up so many doors for me. And it wasn't just about, being around these brands and putting on nice Cartier watches or anything like that. It was about, being a walking semblance of confidence, being completely comfortable, with where I was at and portraying that for the world. A lot of people would ask me, bro, do you that? Isn't that a little bit weird? And at first I was like, yeah, I was super uncomfortable. What are my friends gonna say? What's my family gonna say, right? But when I learned that a lot of people around me thought it was super cool that I was doing that, I was like, yeah, why not put myself out there? Now, granted, being an SF, there were some weird shoots that I was able to do, which is partly why I don't even pursue modeling as much anymore, and I like to create my own content now. But that energy you bring is magnetic. People want to be around those who are comfortable in their own skin. And I think that type of work is something that's pretty rare nowadays when a lot of people are so focused on consuming rather than creating. And what I'm telling you might sound like I was doing a lot because I was working, taking classes, practicing, even getting extra work in. But I was never burnt out at all. I was thriving. I can confidently say that I never took a day for granted. And sometimes I'd be working late at these events. Sometimes I'd be the last person there at the restaurant and I'd be closing up shop at 3 a.m., having to hop back on the bus and get home at 4 a.m. I remember those nights and they built me into the person who I am today. But I was so grateful for those opportunities and for learning because I was just because in all those moments, I was just where my feet were. And I would find time to, get my homework done, to watch film and do all this with the dead time while I was at work. I didn't have social media on my phone during this time. I wasn't producing content or anything like that. I was living in the real world. I was interacting with all these other people and learning valuable skills that are helping me today. And this leads me to the principle that had a huge impact on my life. How you do anything is how you do everything. The same attention to detail that made me a great point guard also made me a better model, also made me a better event manager. So I believe that the skills that you learn through sports transcend across industries, no matter what it is that you're doing. And so when you commit yourself fully to the path that you're on, you develop new skills and new ways of thinking that you probably weren't able to think about before. See, most people put themselves in boxes. They just stick to one thing and then doing nothing else, not exploring all the other areas or creative avenues that they might have interest in. I never let anything hold me back when I was in college. Sure, people were saying crazy remarks. Sure, people had their questions and opinions about what I would do. My coaches would always call me, our coaches were pretty one time a recruit came on a visit and his mom literally called me Ocean Eyes because I have blue eyes, and my coaches did not stop calling me that for the next 2 years. It's insane. But at the end of the day, all of this was just done to inspire, to show other people what's possible. Now I get people hitting me up every single day. What was your experience like playing Division I basketball? How did you get into modeling? And I feel like that if I'm able to inspire just one more person or two more people, then it's worth being put in front of thousands and thousands of individuals. You never know the impact that you'd be able to have on somebody else when you live your true, authentic life. So here's what I want you to understand. This story is not about being superhuman. It's about being incredibly intentional with your energy, with your thoughts, with the way that you talk to yourself. Juggling Division I basketball, working 500 plus person events, and modeling for some of the biggest brands on the West Coast, it didn't just happen because I had more hours in my day. It happened because I was able to stop making excuses and just commit myself to the task at hand and to start taking action and to actually having motion. Every time I chose presence over distraction, it compounded into the person and the entrepreneur that I am today. But here's the real question. What are you capable of when you stop limiting yourself? What becomes possible when you treat every single day like the building block it actually is? And if you want more content about my entrepreneurial mindset, the stories I have playing in college, or the stuff that I was around, then make sure that you subscribe because I have plenty more coming. We're only getting started on this side. Remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. So what are you going to choose today to build momentum for tomorrow?